2 firefighters have died, one is seriously injured, and another 13 were thankfully less seriously injured when a Porsche Taycan electric sports car crashed and exploded while parking around 4 p.m. on Wednesday in an underground car park in Madrid. In other news, despite mounting evidence of the danger posed by vehicles of this nature, there's still no plan to mitigate the risk posed by EVs among us. If you think there's any kind of risk management plan in place here in Australia, I'm going to be auctioning off the Harbour Bridge this weekend, and this is your opportunity to score an historic piece of an internationally recognised Australian icon. Dude. I'm John Cadogan from AutoExpert.com.au. New cars cheap, but Australia only. Website. Card. What appears to have happened in this tragedy is, according to eyewitness accounts, the fire began when a resident, identified only as Javier, attempted to park his electric Porsche Taycan. The reports suggest that he may have confused the accelerator with the brake, crashing into the garage entrance and causing the vehicle to emit thick smoke and flames. That's a quote from the Pinnacle Gazette in Spain. Confuse the accelerator and the brake. Yeah, that sounds like the median Porsche owner. Initial hypotheses suggest that the first of the deceased firefighters was caught in a blast that affected several parked cars. This large-scale explosion was allegedly caused by a fire in an electric car which had crashed when its owner was driving it into the garage. The second firefighter died from the inhalation of fumes while he was being transferred to the University Hospital of Getafe. All the injured and deceased were members of the Alcorcón Fire Brigade. Lobby groups and other arsehole EV advocates will not allow any speed humps on the superhighway to electric utopia, will they? With its tantalising pot of freaking net zero at the end of the rainbow. Speed humps such as, I don't know, reasonable safety measures. They're such assholes. Apparently, the safety of the public and, obviously, of firefighters is not as important as looking good to other unhinged climate zealots who never studied. This report is sponsored by NordVPN. Get big savings plus 4 extra months of Nord for free right now in Nord's exclusive birthday deal. Go to nordvpn.com/AEJC. Online security threats are everywhere, but you do not have to be the next victim. That's where NordVPN comes in, locking everything down efficiently in the background. Go to nordvpn.com/AEJC now. Every 2-year NordVPN plan receives that huge discount, plus a coupon that entitles you to 6 free months, which you can use to extend your subscription, or you can even give it to a friend. nordvpn.com/AEJC. Link in the description. Using NordVPN is easy. Just subscribe, download the app and connect. 1 click later, your IP address is shielded and your traffic will be encrypted across as many as 6 of your devices. Nord is the fastest VPN on the planet. It costs only about as much as 1 cup of coffee every month to keep your data, your identity and your devices secure. Masking your location means you'll be able to access streaming and other services that might be blocked where you live. Plus, you can continue to watch your favourite content when you travel. Go to nordvpn.com/AEJC now. Boost your security, get that huge discount and enjoy those extra months completely free. It's all totally risk-free with Nord's 30-day money-back guarantee. It's easy to stay safe online. Just visit nordvpn.com/AEJC now. It is well past time, in my view, for the Volkswagen Group to hang its head in shame again, especially on this issue. The Porsche Taycan is pretty clearly a safety disgrace. They've tweaked the chemistry for the big discharge because net zero sports car. Shit, yeah. But that makes it even less stable intrinsically. Mitsui ASK Lines, the shipping company, is currently suing Volkswagen arseholes in 2 separate German courts after, it alleges, the fire that destroyed the Felicity Ace cargo vessel in 2022 originated in a shitbox Taycan battery and, they further allege, the Volkswagen Group failed to inform them how insanely dangerous the vehicles were, nor advise them on adequate transport safety precautions. Like, didn't think we needed to. This is in addition to known shitbox Taycan fires, including Florida in February 2020, where one just sort of lit up in some presumably rich masturbator's garage, plus April 2021 in unpronounceable Norway, where shitbox Taycan burst entertainingly into flames while charging, quite memorable for all concerned, I'm sure. Perak in Malaysia just 5 or 6 weeks ago now. Taycan bonfire of the vanities on the freeway there. Who doesn't want to see that? And we've had our own shitbox Taycan blaze as well in Australia, not to be outdone. Red Hill, Victoria. I do wonder why they called it that. Shitbox Taycan self-immolated shortly after being parked. That was late in 2021. Note the dates, dude. Felicity Ace in the Atlantic annex of Davy Jones's locker in 2022, and the fires in Florida, Norway and Australia across 2020 and 2021. But Porsche did not actually recall that shitbox for its pyromaniacal proclivities until October of 2024, which incidentally forced them to admit tacitly and somewhat inelegantly that the battery was prone to internal short circuits. There's no substitute, dude. That is Porsche's official motto. There's no substitute. And I would argue there really isn't. Mercedes does try, of course, and a solid effort from Three Prong in South Korea last, I'm going to say, August. But there's really no substitute. Shitbox Taycan is almost as bad at being a decent sports car as right-wing electric Jesus's Cybertruck is at being an actual truck. And that's really saying something. There's a few different battery options across the shitbox Taycan range, if memory serves, but the biggest one, I think, is 105 kilowatt hours, and it tips the scales at an incredible 625 kilos. Imagine that. Now, surprise and delight features you really don't want in an already unstable 625 kilo battery that's sitting there riding across the tarmac just a few inches below your nuts. Number one, random internal short circuits. On the spectrum of good and bad ideas, generally bad. Perhaps we can all agree on this one small detail. As the world's worst engineer, officially, I would argue that it's actually impossible for senior Porsche dickheads not to know about this glaring design flaw well before announcing the recall in October of 2024. And the alleged fix, right, it's hilarious, mainly just diagnostic software. You just download it, a few ones and zeros, much cheaper than replacing all of the batteries, isn't it? So just to understand exactly how half-assed this recall was actually managed, instead of saying that safety is paramount and they're just going to replace all the batteries and then sue those allegedly equally complicit assholes over at LG Chem who supplied the batteries defectively, senior Porsche scumbags decided just to install software that listens for a battery short circuit and then sends the intern in Stuttgart a glorified text message if it hears a short circuit in your shitbox Taycan. Does that sound like a good idea to you, or a half-assed way of dealing with a regulatory problem? They didn't even start sending out official recall letters until the 29th of November last year. This hardly constitutes getting out in front of such an odious shit sandwich, does it? It's the kind of thing that happens when there are no regulations and car makers are run by bean counters and economists, with the whole shit show overseen by unqualified scumbag politicians and nest-feathering bureaucrats whose collective approach to the climate problem is about as scientifically robust as median 12th century theology. Net zero is faith-based bullshit, basically. We could reduce emissions, we could do it significantly and effectively, certainly, but we'd need a lot more people who understand STEM to do it reasonably and effectively, and we'd need an agreed set of facts. None of the technical people I respect would ever want to set foot in politics. You'd have to stand in the same room as the real superheroes of Australian politics, including Captain Potato Trump, the Toxic Magoo, and Batman. And they all wear the same cologne, Dior Sweet Embrace of Death. You can smell it now. Just think about Peter Dutton, and I can smell it anyway. How would you ever wash the stench off of politics? Come on. It's perfectly okay today, officially, to park a baker's dozen of shitbox Taycans door handle to door handle on the bottom level of the Sydney Opera House underground car park. You go, girl. Electric utopia. Shit, yeah. Be the transition you want to see in the world, dude. And look, it's going to remain okay, isn't it? Until one day when it dawns in the face of a Madrid-like catastrophe that it's emphatically not okay to overlook details such as this. And I would argue that that is going to be a very sad day in Australia. Still, according to the way faith-based electric utopians view the world, preemptively regulating EVs out of enclosed underground car parks couldn't possibly be construed as, I don't know, responsible risk management in the interest of public and emergency services safety, could it? It would be a clear case of ongoing anti-EV discrimination bordering on hate crime. There's no agreed set of facts to be found on issues such as this. We don't do that anymore, right? And this means we can't even begin to have a rational debate before the catastrophe. Like, when did Noah make the ark? Before it rained. When do you need the regulations on shit like this? Before the catastrophe. And if you think we can't have a rational debate and there's no agreed set of facts, or you're unsure about that, just read the comments below this video, because I'm sure that will demonstrate that there is no consensus of facts on issues such as this. I honestly do not know how you would explain all of this to the families of the two tragically deceased Spanish firefighters, or the families of the injured following Wednesday's tragedy in Madrid. Like, where would you start? 2025, dude, what an altogether interesting and exciting time to be a firefighter.